I keep acquiring new palettes, I'm going to keep doing these rankings for as long as they can hold up and for as long as I can keep buying palettes. So we are going to be doing part 4 of ranking new palettes in my collection. So for those of you who don't know, I have many parts to this by now. As part 4 could suggest to you, I have quite the accumulative collection of newer palettes. This video, as I think I have previous ones, that any of these rankings have nothing to do with the packaging, how I acquired it, who I received it from, the price point, the brand. Some of them does come down to quality, which I didn't realize, but for the most part, it's just my experience of, did I really enjoy creating the looks? Did I find it easy to blend? Did I have minimal troubles? Do I see myself like really reaching for it a lot more than other palettes in my collection? And overall, was I just impressed? For spot number 6, yes, part 4 and part 5 will have 6 palettes each, my most out of this entire little series that I started. Spot number 6 will go to my Delancey or Aflano. I know that they kind of go under that name, Aflano or Delancey, back and forth occasionally. This is the Witch Poison palette. Now I did receive this for free as a gift. I'm in their little group chat thing when I was affiliated with them a couple of years ago. To this day, back then I was given a code, and to this day I don't promote that code, or I don't promote the brand or like really anything all that much. I just merely say that if I use the palette, I did receive it as a gift. With all of that being said, my thoughts, my opinions, and everything are my own. Just because it's been gifted doesn't mean that it changes. This is their Witch Poison, which was their, I believe it was like a Halloween sort of theme, a batch of palettes that they came out with. And this is a 6-color black purple makeup palette they're calling, and you open it like this. Now, I've said this before with 9-pan palettes, it is no different with 6-pan palettes. This one, I only have 2 colors in here plus this like duochrome blue sort of shimmer in here. I can only create very little looks out of this. I did have an extremely hard time using this palette the first couple of times that I did use this. I think I used it twice to create 2 different looks. And I keep it in here because I want to reuse it again. I want to feel my thoughts on it. I want to, play with it more, but because I have already used all of the shades I've used, it is nice. It is there. I believe it was just these 2 shades here that I had trouble sort of like blending and packing. And then the black, I believe was pretty pigmented. And then the shimmer here was, I think, the whole star of the entire palette. But this one wasn't really like that impressive where I was like, oh my gosh, like, I automatically think of this palette when I think of Halloween or these tones or whatever. But it's decent. It's not like amazing or anything. Spot number 5, it goes to my Sigma Enchanted Mini. Now I did buy this one off of Steph from here on YouTube, and she also posts on Instagram. Now I haven't seen her in a long time. I hope she's doing well. Is in spot 5 because while I do really enjoy Sigma quality, I think that their mattes and their shimmers are very good. I think their mattes are probably a little bit better than their shimmers, at least for me, in my opinion, in this palette. But I mean, the mattes in here blended so easily, so nicely. You definitely have to build them up. I'd say that they're more on like the classier side of eyeshadows. And I mean that in the best way possible, where if you need a very professional sort of look, you can use these sort of shades. You can go to Sigma. They're very, not so bold or bright like this blue eye look I'm wearing. It's very calm. It's very approachable. I know people are still looking for sort of shadows like that, and this definitely gives that. These shimmers in here, I have no problem. They do apply very nicely on their own, but glitter glue all the time helps tremendously. And I really enjoy this palette, but, I can only get, a bunch of the more similar sort of looks, and I need a little bit of variation. This is very good for those, like, lazy days, or days where, I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like thinking, I want to do makeup, but, like, I just want to have a shadow apply, and I know it's going to look good. That's pretty much what I classify this as. And spot number 4 goes to the Glamlight and Michaela palettes. I did buy this one secondhand off of somebody on Mercari, and I know it's shocking because you'd think that a big palette like this, especially being very colorful and a lot of these fun bright tones and all of these like really pretty shimmers, that it would rank a little bit higher than it did. But my reason for this is because while I did enjoy this palette and creating all of my looks, I believe the first 2 looks I created after this were giving me more trouble than what I felt was worth having to deal with. I believe it was mostly these purple shades, and I think like some of this like teal shade here. The rest of them I believe worked fine. The shimmers were good. They need glitter glue of course, and they show up so much better. But just these darker mattes, I was just having a little bit of trouble blending and applying and sort of trying to pack on and still show up. So while I did, use all of the shades in this palette, and I did get a very full grasp on it, I still want to play around with this a lot more and see if maybe the way that I was applying them needed a little bit different of a technique or a way of applying. But yeah, overall this is a really pretty palette. I'm happy that's in my collection, and I didn't enjoy it. It did make me happy, but it's just those problems sort of brought it down just a little extra notch. And spot number 3 is going to go to my Give Me Glow Christmas Morning palette, and this one you're probably like, it is an 8-pan palette. How can you rank this so high up? Well, hear me out. For my first time trying Give Me Glow, they've impressed me very, very well. All of the mattes in here, they are so soft and they blend so easily. I can tap on a little bit and apply it and I get some pigment, and I can definitely build it up to a more intense pigment. The green in here was so easy to use. Like, I just applied a little bit, it was easy to blend, and it was just like no fuss. It was so quick. All of these are so easy to work with. I do have to say that my only little issue or gripe with this is that this one appeared and felt more of a little bit flakier in texture and in feeling whenever I applied it on my eyes and I felt it in the pan compared to the other shimmers in this palette. But I definitely do feel like if I did use glitter glue when I use this shimmer, it would work a lot better, because the first time I used it was without glitter glue, just to kind of get an idea on the shimmer formula on its own without any like extra help and things. But I mean, this silver is, wow, it pops. This green is so interesting. It's got like a brown green sort of duochrome shift base to it. Oh, it is really pretty. And this palette is just, even though it brings me joy from the packaging, I was very impressed, and I'm like, I do want to use this like again and again, and especially for it only having like a couple of color options. I'm very surprised at myself that I would gravitate towards this so much, you know? Spot number 2 is going to go to a palette that I have not fully completed, my 4 looks 1 palette sort of series that I kind of create my own, and with every new palette that comes in my collection, because I want to use every single shade in a palette, but I also want to get an idea of the entire formula, whether it's new or whether it's from another brand that I tried, and just kind of see its consistency with it. Now, just to be completely transparent, I've only created 2 looks out of this palette, and I don't think I've used every shade in this palette yet. No. It goes to the Cosmic Brushes or Beauty Muse palette. This is the very like earthy, fairy, enchanted, sort of like very rusticy color story in my opinion. Like, I love this. I love these colors. I love the tones. I love the earth tones. Like, for someone who loves makeup and appears very girly online, I really love nature. I love earth. I love being one with the earth. I love being one with nature and things like that. So it very does speak to me as a person. And like I mentioned, I only created 2 looks out of this palette so far, because I'm slowly working on a video to create 4 looks off of it and record it and make it and whatever. So as you can see by the markings on this, I have not used every shade, but from what I have used, it is the same cosmic formula that I'm familiar with, the Serenity palette. The looks that I created were really pretty, and I'm definitely excited to use this palette again, and these are just so good, so soft, they blend so easily. The shimmers don't really need any help, but I always like using glitter glue just because I'm trying to use it up, and also I love the effect that shimmers have on top of glitter glue. They just are enhanced on a whole different level than on their own end. And in spot number 1 goes to a palette that may or may not shock you, depending on how much you follow up my videos, my Instagram posts, or just who I am and what I like regarding makeup. This will not come as a shock to you. But for those of you who are just learning about me, this probably will come as a shock, because I'm wearing blue eyeshadow. My number 1 palette goes to the Revolution True Icon palette. This is their dupe of the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 2 palette. I apologize for the reflective mirror packaging. It is very jarring. Now, it is ranked in spot number 1 because I freaking love this palette. This palette impressed me because I mentioned this time and time again, every single time I bring this palette out, I've had crap experiences with Revolution quality before, prior to them buying out BH. Now again, this hasn't been confirmed that Revolution is using BH palette formula or they're just enhancing their own. I love warm tones. Warm tones is my heart. These toasties, these oranges, they're just so freaking pretty. They do offer 2 cream shadows in here, which you don't have to use, but I think it's fun to have like extra sort of like eyeshadow bases to play around with, to use, and you know, just experiment and have fun. These are definitely very creamy. They do work as eye primers and eye bases for this palette. I definitely used both of them in some looks, and I had no bad experience. These shimmers appear though, like some of these have like a little duochrome sort of shift to them, especially like I think it's these 2, and I think like these 3 are just like regular, like very vibrant, very wow, bam, in your face shimmers. The mattes are so incredibly soft. They blend with ease. They blend with just a little bit of a brush, and you apply it and you're just, wow, I got color. I just had so much joy in every single look I created. I was like, oh man, look at me. I was like, oh man, I feel so pretty. Like, oh, I just could not stop staring at every single look I created, and that stood out for me, and that really was like, yep, this deserves first spot because of how much this brought so much joy. And that brings me to the end of this part of ranking newer palettes in my collection. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if you own any of these palettes, or you wanted to try any of these palettes in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts, and as always, have an awesome rest of your day and your week, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye, guys.